In 1986, the Fox channel launched as a fourth network that would compete with the big three of CBS, ABC, and NBC. During the first few years, Fox didn't have any programming on Saturday mornings, and it would just be whatever local affiliates wanted to show. Finally, in the fall of 1990, they launched a Saturday morning children's block called Fox Children's Network. It would later go on to be known as Fox Kids and had massive success. By 1992, it was ranked the #1 kids Saturday morning block on television, and it held that spot for 6 years until 1998, when Disney One Saturday Morning passed it. The success on Fox Kids was thanks to classic shows like Power Rangers, Batman the Animated Series, X-Men, and Spider-Man. The feeling of the block was always that it was a little bit cooler and even edgier than the others, with a lot of action. During the 90s, the major networks all had Saturday morning kids blocks, and they were all pretty popular. However, by the late 90s, ratings started to drop. This was caused by a number of factors. ABC's Disney One Saturday Morning initially passed Fox Kids in 1998 with their Disney block that had some hit shows. Fox had also passed on the hit shows Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, which ended up going to the rival WB. There were also cable channels becoming very popular with kids, such as Nickelodeon and Disney Channel. However, by the start of the 2000s, Fox Kids may have lost their dominance, but they were still popular. Shows like Digimon and Metabots helped compete with the other networks. But in October of 2001, Disney purchased Fox Family Worldwide for $5.2 billion. In this sale, Disney acquired the Fox Family Channel, which was a cable channel, and renamed to ABC Family. They also acquired the Saban Entertainment Library. Part of this library were shows such as Power Rangers, Digimon, and Spider-Man, among others. At the time of the sale, they lost 3 of the 8 shows that were currently on the Saturday morning block. Unfortunately, the 3 shows that they lost were their 3 biggest hits, being Power Rangers, Digimon, and Moolah Beach. They were able to temporarily still have the shows on for a period of time, but they would have to eventually remove them, and this ultimately led to the end of the Fox Kids TV block. After losing some of their big-name shows, and many of their remaining shows being licensed from external production companies, they decided to rent out their Saturday morning time slot to 4Kids Entertainment. This was a popular company which was founded in 1970, and it helped bring many popular kids shows to America. They had many connections with toy companies such as Nintendo, Sega, Hasbro, and Mattel. An interesting thing is that 4KidsTV had Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh!, the 2 hit shows that Fox had passed on before. Unfortunately, they could not air them on the block though, because they were airing on other networks. At least not right away for Yu-Gi-Oh! They would be able to air that show later on. But they did have a very strong collection of shows, and would have a main target audience of kids around 6 to 12 and mostly boys. The new block would be called the Fox Box, and it would air for 4 hours on Saturday mornings from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. It officially launched on September 14, 2002. The first show on the block was Stargate Infinity. This was an animated sci-fi show which was a brand new series. It was a spin-off of the popular series Stargate SG-1. The series is set 30 years in the future and follows Gus Bonner and his team. Bonner was framed for a crime he didn't commit, so the team travels from planet to planet to clear their names. In the show, they would encounter all kinds of alien creatures. However, the show did not end up lasting very long, and due to low ratings, it had just 1 season and 26 episodes. The next series was Fighting Foodons. This was a Japanese manga series which originally aired outside the US from 2001 to 2002. In the series, an aspiring young chef uses magical meal tickets to turn recipes into creatures known as foodons. He makes these foods to battle the evil glutton empire who kidnaps and brainwashes chefs. The series had 26 episodes and was adapted and had things changed for the US version. Then was Kirby Right Back at Ya. This was another Japanese series which had first run in Japan in 2001. It was part of the popular Kirby franchise, which started as a Japanese video game in the 90s. This was the first TV series of the show about Kirby, a small pink alien. He eats enemy aliens but does not talk. Kirby becomes friends with some local kids, and they help him defend the village. The series was a big success in Japan and had 100 episodes. Ultimate Muscle was another Japanese show that came to the original Fox box. It had first aired in January of 2002 in Japan and was a sequel to the 1980 series Muscle Man. In this show, Kid Muscle is the son of King Muscle, but Kid Muscle is lazy, a coward, and obsessed with food. He hates fighting, but is forced into the Muscle League and becomes a fighter. The series did not perform very well in Japan, but did have 77 episodes. The final show on the block was Ultraman Tiga. Once More, a Japanese series which originally aired in Japan from 1996 to 1997. The show was actually live action though, and it was set in an alternate universe in the future. Giant monsters and aliens appear on Earth and cause chaos. Ultraman Tiga is a hero who defends the Earth from the monsters and aliens. The show had 52 episodes, however, it did not perform well in the US and was cancelled after just 23 episodes. So those were the original shows in the lineup, and several of these shows actually aired twice. 4Kids did not have enough shows that they could air right away to fill the whole time slot with different series, but they would be able to do so soon and would add more shows. In addition to the shows, the Fox Box had an aggressive, edgy, and high-energy production. There was a theme song, a voice-over host, but occasionally the block would have celebrity guest hosts. There would be interactive games which went with the website where there was games. Sometimes codes would be on screen and kids could go to the website and get rewards. There would also be many commercials for products like toys, video games, and fast food chains. When the block debuted, the reviews were mixed, but it was mostly a success with the target demographic, and the ratings improved over the previous block. The first changes to the block came in early 2003. In February, the show Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was added. This was a brand new animated series which debuted on the block. There had been TV shows, video games, and movies prior to this of the TMNT franchise. This show followed the 4 Ninja Turtles and their rat sensei Splinter in the sewers of New York. The Turtles fight crime and stop villains. However, this series was a little more dramatic, and there wasn't as much goofiness as the other Ninja Turtles shows. It ended up having lots of success, going on to have 7 seasons and 155 total episodes. On that same day in February of 2003, they also added the show The Cramp Twins. This was an animated British sitcom which first aired in 2001 on British Cartoon Network. The show was about the sibling rivalry between 2 brothers who are always having crazy adventures. They live with their quirky parents and all kinds of crazy things happen. With the show being a British comedy, it was unlike many others on the block, but it added some variety. It had 52 episodes and would air on and off on the block. In March of 2003, Ultraman Tiga was cancelled due to low ratings as mentioned before. A week later, Stargate Infinity was also removed from the block. Replacing these shows were the series Pirate Islands and Back to the Future. Pirate Islands was a new series which was Australian and originally aired on Network 10 in Australia starting March 3rd of 2003. One of just a few live-action series that was on the block. This one was about 3 Australian siblings. They end up getting zapped into their father's pirate-themed video game. In order to get out, they need to outsmart Captain Blackheart and find the hidden treasure. This series had just 1 season and 26 episodes. Back to the Future, the animated series, was based on the 1985 hit movie. It actually originally aired on CBS back in 1991 and was added to the block to be a family-friendly show. The series takes place after the conclusion of the 3rd film and primarily focuses on Doc Brown and his family. Marty still appears in many episodes, and they travel around time and go on many adventures. This series was kind of interesting to be on the block because it was not a new show, but it was a well-known franchise. In 2003, there were many more changes with the block. Lots of series seemed to come and go. In July of 2003, WMAC Masters was added. Originally, this show ran in syndication from 1995 to 1997. It was a live-action martial arts show which blended wrestling, video game themes, and dramatic storylines. The show was like a live-action video game and featured many fighters, each with their own style. However, it did not last long on the Fox Box and was removed after less than 2 months. In August of 2003, Sonic X and Funky Cops were added. Sonic X was an animated Japanese series which first aired earlier that year in 2003 in Japan. It followed Sonic the Hedgehog and friends as they teleport from their planet to Earth. They're attempting to save their friend from Sonic's nemesis, Dr. Eggman. It was part of the popular Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, which began as video games in the 90s. This series had a total of 78 episodes. Funky Cops was an animated series about 2 cops in San Francisco in the 1970s. It was actually a French animated show, and it first aired in 2002 on M6. The cops love disco, and they also love to be hip and cool. In the process of this, they solve crimes. The series had 2 seasons and 39 episodes, and it lasted for a little under a year on the Fox Box. At the end of August of 2003, the Japanese animated series Shaman King was added to the block. Fighting Foodons was then taken off. Shaman King first aired in 2001 in Tokyo, Japan. It was about a laid-back teenager, Yo Asakura, who enters a tournament called the Shaman Fight. His goal is to become the Shaman King. The shows Pirate Islands and Back to the Future were also removed from the block in August of 2003. Then in September, the show Cubics, Robots for Everyone was added. This was an animated series that originated in South Korea, first airing in 2001. Set in the future, it's the story of a young boy named Connor who loves robots. He moves to a town with as many robots as people and then gets his own robot. They go on adventures together with friends to stop an evil scientist. The show had 2 seasons and 26 episodes, and also appeared on the Kids WB block prior to the Fox box. The Cramp Twins was also taken off late in 2003, so it was a very active year for the Fox box, with many new shows being added and others being taken off. In 2003, the ratings were good, as they improved from 2002. Their top show was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, followed by Sonic and Kirby. In May of 2004, they added the show Martin Mystery. It was a French series that had first aired in the fall of '03 in France and Canada. The show was based on the Italian comic books Martin Mystery. In the TV series, it reimagines the main characters Martin and Diana as teenagers attending school. They work for the secret organization known as the Center, which protects people of Earth from aliens. There were 3 seasons of the show and 66 episodes. However, on the Fox box, it only aired for just over a month before being removed, as it was put on as sort of a test. Then in May of 2004, Ultimate Muscle was taken off the block, and the show Winx Club was added. Winx Club was another Italian animated series which first aired in early 2004 on Nickelodeon in Italy. It was about the adventures of 6 girls known as the Winx. They are all different fairies, and they live in a universe with several different dimensions. This was one of the few girls shows that was on the Fox box, as it was unlike many of the boys shows, but it did fit with the block overall. Over the summer of 2004, Funky Cops, Cubics, and Martin Mystery were taken off the block. Also in the summer of 2004, a short-lived lifestyle show called The Menu aired typically at the end of the block. It featured teen-oriented pop culture updates and celebrity features. Moving into the fall of 2004, several new shows were added. The series F-Zero GP Legends was one of them. This show originally aired in the fall of 2003 in Japan. It was an animated adaptation of the video game and was about life forms from all across the galaxy taking part in a racing tournament. The show follows several main characters who try to stop the bad guys from winning the prizes. One Piece was another show added, which is another Japanese animated series. This series first aired in 1999 in Japan and actually is still airing new episodes. There are an incredible 22 seasons and over 1,100 episodes of the show, but for the Fox box they would show 104 episodes. The show follows the adventures of Monkey D. Luffy, who after eating a fruit, his body gained the properties of rubber. He and his crew search for the treasure known as One Piece. Also in 2004, there was a series of shorts called The Incredible Crash Dummies, which were based on action figures. Then in early 2005, the Fox box branding came to an end. 4Kids, who leased the space, decided to rebrand it to 4KidsTV using their own name. The rebranding officially launched on January 22, 2005. With the new branding, the block became more colorful with new logos, was less edgy, and it was also less targeted at boys. They put a strong emphasis on their website, and I guess you could say the block just became more average, or more like a typical Saturday morning block. As for the programming, many of the shows remained the same. The lineup included Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Kirby, One Piece, Shaman King, Winx Club, F-Zero GP Legends, The Cramp Twins Returned, and Sonic. Pretty early in February of 2005, the Cramp Twins were taken off again. The show Tokyo Mew Mew was added. This series was an animated Japanese show, which first aired in Japan in the year 2000. There was also a video game of it. It's about a young girl named Ichigo and her 4 friends. They get DNA from animals and can then transform into superheroes. The girls then fight off aliens to protect the Earth. The show F-Zero GP Legend was soon taken off, and later on in 2005, the series Alien Racers was added. This series was brand new and made for the block. This was an animated sci-fi series where champions from different alien civilizations compete in high-stakes demolition races. The races take place across a mutating planet, and the ultimate prize for winning is having a power called Reno Energy. It would end up having just 1 season and 26 episodes. The Menu aired again during the summer of '05. Then late in the summer, the series Magical Do-Re-Mi joined the block. It was an animated Japanese show, first airing in Japan in 2000. The series was about an unlucky elementary school girl who discovers her local shopkeeper is a witch. Her and her friends then train to become apprentices. The series had 50 episodes. Later in the month of August, G.I. Joe Sigma 6 joined the block as well. This was another brand new show that was made for the network. Based on the action figure toys, it followed G.I. Joe and his team as they have new Sigma suits. They work together to combat the Cobra organization. And then Bratz, the TV series, was added to the 4KidsTV block. This was a new animated series which was first airing on the block. It was based on the popular Bratz dolls, and in the show it's about 4 teenage girls running their own magazine. There were 2 seasons and 40 episodes of the show, and you can see how 4KidsTV was getting away from just the boy-themed shows and having it be more balanced. Also later in 2005, Kirby was actually taken off the block, but would return in 2006. One Piece and Shaman King were also taken off the block later in 2005 as well. 2006 was another busy year. Sonic X was temporarily taken off the block, but would return later on. Mew Mew Power and Magical Do-Re-Mi were also taken off, but would not return. Ultimate Muscle briefly returned for 2 months in the summer as well. But heading into the fall of 2006, several new programs were added. Viva Pinata was a brand new show, which was made in a collaboration with Microsoft. It was an animated show that was released alongside an Xbox 360 game of the same name. It was about an island where piñatas of all kinds roam freely. The show focuses on a group of piñata friends who are trying to evade the evil professor. The series had 2 seasons and 52 episodes. Yu-Gi-Oh! Also finally joined the block. Its contract with the WB expired, and now 4KidsTV could air episodes on Fox. Yu-Gi-Oh! Originally aired in Japan from 2000 to 2004. It was an animated series about a boy named Yugi who solves an ancient Egyptian puzzle. This awakens an alter ego of a powerful pharaoh. Yugi and his friends must then protect the world by battling in high-stakes card games. There was then another Yu-Gi-Oh! Series added, which was Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Monsters. This series followed Yugi and his friends when they're pulled into an alternate dimension. In that dimension, a real-life version of the Capsule Monsters game exists. Yugi and his friends must find their way back home. The latter series did not last long and only had 12 episodes as it was considered a flop. Also in the fall of 2006, the show Chaotic joined the block. It was a brand new animated sci-fi series which follows a group of teenagers. This friend group discovers their favorite trading card game is a gateway to an alternate dimension. It's a digital world where players scan codes to transform into creatures they collect. In early 2007, Bratz was taken off, and then later in 2007, the show D Gata Defenders was added. This series originally aired on Teletoon in Canada in 2006. It was an animated fantasy series about 4 young heroes who are the last of the D Gata Defenders. They travel to the world of Rados to find powerful stones. Their mission is to stop the evil megalith. In the fall of 2007, the main Yu-Gi-Oh! Series was taken off, and the series Yu-Gi-Oh! GX was added. This was a series that first aired in Japan in 2004. It followed a talented teenage duelist named Jaden Yuki. He goes to a prestigious boarding school called Duel Academy and learns the Monster Duel card game. Dinosaur King also joined in the fall of 2007, and it was another Japanese animated series. This one was first broadcast earlier in Japan in 2007. It follows 3 kids who find special stone tablets that bring dinosaurs to life through cards. They then rescue dinosaurs from the villainous Alpha Gang. And then later on in the fall of 2007, the Adrenaline Project was added. This show was a little different. It was actually a Canadian reality show which was new and focused on extreme sports. Teenagers would compete head-to-head in challenges. Contestants would get eliminated until there was a winner. It was a show that had 2 seasons and 39 episodes. So after all those changes since the block had become 4KidsTV, how is it performing? Not good. Ratings had dropped each year, and to be fair, just about every Saturday morning block on broadcast TV saw their ratings drop at that time. But 4KidsTV had some series that failed because of failed adaptations or too many reruns. They also changed their schedule quite a bit. During the years of 2006 and 2007, some Fox affiliates even began to drop the programming block altogether. In 2008, as a response to this, 4KidsTV decided to buy the Saturday morning block on the CW as well. This would prove to be a bad decision, but this block would be called the CW for Kids. On this block, they would have a mixture of shows that had been on the other block. The only 2 shows that didn't appear on the Fox box were Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D and Go-Go Riki. In the fall of 2008, the final new show joined the 4KidsTV Fox block. Biker Mice from Mars originally aired in the UK in 2006. It was an animated series which was based on another animated series of the same name which ran in the mid-90s. In the show, there are 3 mice who ride motorcycles and are from the planet Mars. They return to Earth and then protect the Earth from aliens. This newer version of the show had just 1 season and 28 episodes. This was really the last change made to the schedule. Behind the scenes, there were ongoing financial conflicts between Fox and 4KidsTV. Fox had obviously been leasing out the time slot to 4Kids, which was a price of $20 million per year, and 4Kids fell behind on the payments. Fox sued 4Kids, and 4Kids sued back, saying that Fox failed to live up to the agreements of a 90% clearance rate. This meant that at least 90% of Fox affiliates were to show the block. However, a good number had dropped it by that point. The relationship was also strained when 4Kids decided to start a block on the CW as well, which was a rival channel to Fox. And this was all combined with the fact that Saturday morning kids blocks just weren't getting anywhere near the views that they used to get, sadly. The internet and popular cable TV channels were the main cause of this. In late 2008, a settlement was reached, and 4KidsTV would end their block on Fox at the end of the year. This was 9 months earlier than the contract was set to expire, as originally it was supposed to go until the fall of '09, and 4KidsTV also had to pay an undisclosed settlement fee. The final airing of the block took place on December 27, 2008. The block was then replaced by Weekend Marketplace, which was a 2-hour infomercial block. Other local programming would be shown on Saturday mornings as well, so not really any kids shows at all. It was a sad end, as it wasn't really replaced with anything close to it. The CW block continued to air, and was renamed to Toonzai in the fall of 2010. That eventually ended in 2012. Looking back at the Fox box and 4KidsTV, it was a very unique block. It started out as a block aimed at boys, which had success, and later broadened the audience. It brought over lots of Japanese shows to America, as well as other international shows, and only had a couple of original programs made for the block. Most of the shows were sci-fi and animated, which also helped set it apart from the other blocks at the time. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.